today with Rad Art Studios, we are going to be creating a steam lever launcher. For the supplies, you should have some craft sticks. You want the thicker kind, not the thin popsicle sticks. These are what will work best. You will also need assorted paper clips. We will be using both the plain ones and the ones that have the colored coating, so it is recommended that you have both. You will need some sort of glue. If you're using regular school glue, it will take a little longer for the glue to stick and dry. What I do recommend is either a tacky glue or a hot glue. If you are going to go ahead and use a hot glue gun, please make sure that you ask permission before doing so. And remember to be careful of the tip and the glue because they do get very hot and can burn you. The best option would be a tacky glue. This tacky glue is also really great and recommended, and you can actually purchase it for $1 at the Dollar Tree. Then what you will also need is a scrap piece of paper. If you have a ruler, you don't necessarily need one, but it's good to have. And then the nose cone and fin template. It looks something like this. And I will add a copy of that to the lesson as well, so you guys can easily print that out. And that you're also going to need are a straw, some scissors, and then if you want to like decorate or color anything in, you can use crayons, colored pencils, markers, or anything of that sort. But let's go ahead and get started. So to get started, we're actually going to make some paper strips. These lever launchers are going to need these strips secured onto the paper clips, which are going to get connected onto the craft sticks. And this is just going to kind of help keep everything together. So like I said before, you don't really need a ruler, but it will help you with the measurements for these. We want to try to measure about 1 inch from the top left corner of the construction paper, and then the bottom left corner. And we're going to just kind of make strips that way. And we're going to measure the top left corner about 1 inch and bottom left corner about 1 inch. And that's going to make our first strip. Okay. And you're going to do that about 3 more times. And once you have your strips drawn out, you can go ahead and cut them out. If you have plain popsicle sticks like I do, it would be the perfect time to go ahead now and get out those markers or those coloring utensils that you selected and get them some color. If you already have them colored in, then you can skip this step. So now we are ready to make the first part of our lever launcher, which is going to be the fulcrum. So what we are going to need are our jumbo metal paper clips. So remember I said earlier we're going to want the metal ones, but we are also going to want the coated ones as well. But there are different sizes, so this would be a smaller paper clip, this would be a jumbo paper clip. It is recommended that we use the jumbo ones. If you don't have the jumbo ones, go ahead and use the smaller ones. But for this, you do not want to use the plastic coated paper clips, as they're not going to have that same spring effect that we are going to get from these metal ones. So what I actually am going to have you do is find the middle part of the paper clip, and I need you to grab that, and then you're actually going to pull it up and apart from the bigger one, making sure you don't actually snap it off, but you're going to end up making this L shape. Just like that. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach our paper clip to our popsicle stick. And then we are going to go ahead paper strip and wrap it around 2 times. Cut off the excess, leaving a little tab. You're going to add a little bit of your glue. If you're doing hot glue, I recommend using the end of your scissors to fold it over. If you're not, then it doesn't matter as much, but it could burn your fingers through the paper, especially if your paper is thin. Go ahead and hold it down there for a few seconds until it is secure. And then we will be ready to attach our second craft stick to form our fulcrum. So just like with our paper clip earlier, we were forming that L shape. We're actually going to be doing the same thing here with our popsicle sticks by connecting the other paper clip side to our popsicle. We're going to add that glue again in the middle. And we're going to go ahead and use that other part that we cut off from our paper. We're going to attach it down here. And same thing as we did before, we're going to secure it by wrapping it around. Nice and secure. Get it around at least 2 times. Okay. Oops, sorry. Mine ended up a little bit longer, so I am going to cut it again just to give us that smaller tab. Go ahead and add your glue. And hold it down. And when you're finished, you will have somewhat of that L shape. Again, it's going to look actually more like an arrow or an acute line. You know, if we had a right angle, it would be more straight up and it would look exactly like an L. But that is not what we are seeing here, so make sure that you do see the curve in the line and it's not straight up. When you look at this, your paper clips should both be on the same side, the inner side of your craft stick. What made it a little easier for me is I did only color one side of my craft sticks, and that helped remind me how to glue that together. So just double check that as you're gluing so that it is done the right way. Now, our main part of our fulcrum, our lever launcher, is made. And we are now actually going to use our smaller paper clip to make the rocket holder for the launcher. This is the one that was recommended earlier to get with the color coding, but you can also use smaller metal clips as well. So if you didn't have the color coding, you can go ahead and just use the metal ones, but you are going to need the smaller size for this lesson. We're gonna make another L shape, but it's gonna look different. Every of the L's we've made so far all look different. You're actually going to, instead of pulling the middle piece in this one, we're gonna pull the end piece in this one. We're going to pull it out to the side horizontally. And then we're actually gonna go ahead and bend it upward. This could be a little trickier with the coating ones if you have like a little pair of like pliers. It would help to bend. You could also use scissors, but you'd have to be really careful so you wouldn't actually cut the paper clip. But if you just use your fingers, you should be able to bend it. It might just be a little tricky at first. So you'll end up with kind of, again, this L. Try to show you it in different ways so you can see that better. What we're going to do is we're going to take our lever launcher, making sure we're working on the stick that is upright, and we are actually going to be gluing on our small paper clip on the top of that craft stick, something like so. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach it the same way we've attached our others, by adding a little bit of glue, taking our strip of paper, putting it over our paper clip, and wrapping the paper around. Make a little tab, cut that off, add a little bit of glue, and and attach. It is time for our third and final popsicle stick. So how we are going to go ahead and attach that is by placing it in the center, our launcher is what I should say, in the center of our popsicle stick. What is kind of helping me determine the center is the way I actually decorated this. I focused on lines, so I can kind of count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and know that I'm in the middle. But you could go ahead and use that ruler again to kind of measure out where the middle is for you, or you can kind of roughly guesstimate and then make your little lines so you know where that middle is. And then we are going to go ahead and glue that down. So our basic lever launcher is now done. So at this time, it is just good to double check that the paper clips are secure. They're holding with the paper that you attached with the glue. You can also, add a little bit of decorations here if you want, but we are going to get ready now for the next step, which is moving on to making our mini rockets. You are going to need, again, the ruler. If you need to make your measurements, you're going to need your straw and a pencil or something to write with and a pair of scissors. We are going to be cutting about 2 1/4 inches for our mini rockets. We're going to need 3. So we're going to line it up and we're going to get about 2 1/4 and we're going to make a mark. Then from that mark, we're going to move it over, and again, we're going to go for the 2 1/4. Make that mark, move it over, and then we're going to do that one more time. Ooh, mine goes right to the end. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut them out. You're going to need the nose cone and fin template, and we're going to use these to make the rocket nose cones and fins, basically exactly what it says. So we are going to end up using these geometric 2D shapes to transform them into 3D parts. If you are just using our template, you can go ahead now and color these in so they are colorful. If you printed it out on a colored paper, you got some fun colors, you can go with that, or you can also keep them white. For each rocket, you are going to need 3 fins, which are going to come from our rectangle triangle pieces here. And you're going to need 1 nose cone, which is one of these semicircles. So since we are making 3 rockets in total right now, you are going to need to cut out 3 nose cones, and how many fins did we need? Remember, we need a total of 3 for each. 3 plus 3 plus 3, 9. These are in, actually, remember though, they're in groups of 2 because we are actually using the triangles and not the rectangle. So you are going to need to cut out more, so you have 9 and not 8. So you will need a total of 5 rectangles. Now we are ready to put together our mini rockets. So we're going to start with our nose cones. And for this, I recommend also having a pencil on hand because we are going to use that tip of the pencil to actually help us make the cone shape. Remember, we're taking a 2D flat shape and we're turning it into a 3D round shape. And what we're simply going to do is just make a cone shape here by rolling this around our pencil tip. Like so. You have it rolled, you're gonna leave a little tab open. Remember, that's where you're gonna add your little bit of glue. And you're gonna fold it over so it is glued. But make sure it's not stuck to your pencil. Make sure you can remove it. And there's one. Repeat with the other two. We're gonna go ahead and attach those cones to our straws by adding a little bit of glue on the inside of the cone and putting the straw inside. Final step to our rocket is to attach the fins. So you are going to need 3 each. And I recommend attaching the glue onto the straw and then adding the fin. And you will have to hold it there for a couple seconds because you are using just a thin paper. So you want to make sure it's secure and dry before you let go. And then repeat for the other 2 pieces. And then repeat for your other 2 rockets as well. Our mini rockets are done, our launcher is done, and we are ready to test it out. So to test your launcher, you are going to take a mini rocket and you are going to place it on to the paper clip. You are then going to hold the launcher at the base, so that's why we attach this piece down here. You are going to pull it back and you are going to release. Let's see that another way. Thank you for joining, boys and girls.